Hi folks, you've probably been doing a search for fans online, especially the Aerotron fan, or the most economical fan that you can get on the marketplace. And I just thought I'd give you a little update on our experience with the Aerotron fans. We have 3 in our residence. This one here was installed around about 3 years ago. It was the first one that we installed. We bought an old beach shack that had suspended ceilings to this point, and we cleared out the suspended ceilings and we plasterboarded right up to the rafters and to the battens, and installed the Aerotrons at the peak, just as you see here in this example. We were looking for an economical fan, something that didn't use a lot of power, but also wanted a quiet fan. The fans that were here beforehand were the old steel fans, very much like the ones that you see or have seen in a lot of offices and schools. They're flat, they're white, about the same size as these, 3-bladed, but when they get up to speed there's a bit of a chopping sound, and I don't like the sound of that chopping sound at night time when I'm sleeping. So I was looking for a very quiet fan. The other thing with the old style of fans, the controlling box that sits on the wall often has a loud buzzing noise that's associated with it, and the more you turn up the power in it, the louder the buzzing gets. So if you combine the chopping sound with the buzzing sound and a little whistle that comes off the tips of the blades, I found that it was not really the kind of fan that I wanted to keep in my house. So I was looking for something that was low power, as I said, and also quiet. If you have a look at the tips of the blades, they're a lot flatter than this scalloped out section that you see at about this point. I could very well turn this off and show it to you, but I've got it on low at the moment just so that you see what it's doing, how it's doing it. You can't really tell in the video how much air is coming off this low rotation that's happening at the moment, but it's quite substantial. As I was about to say, there is high efficiency off these blades due to the shape of the blade. The speed of the blade at the middle is less than that of the tips. So what they've done is they've worked out a way to get maximum air pressure near the middle while maintaining the same kind of pressure towards the outside of the blade. In behind there is a DC motor, low power DC motor. You cannot hear a bearing rumble up there at all. Now, towards the tips of the blade, you can't see while it's rotating, but I'm sure that if you've been online and you had a look at the design specifications, you notice that there's a kick up at the tip of the blade. That's to stop, or I believe that's to stop the whistling and the chopping sound that you get at high speed. When we turn this one up to the 6th level speed, it does produce a bit of a woof woof sound as it gets up, but because it's so efficient in the low speeds, we rarely ever have it up on that high speed. It's also reversible, so on the controller, if you want to draw air up, you turn it on reverse and you've got 6 speeds available to blow the air back upwards. Propellers and fans of this kind are really designed to work one way. The scalloping and all the shapes that they've made across the surface of the blade is designed really to push the air down, even though they say it can draw the air up, and it does do that. It's not as efficient because it's designed to blow it down. They figure that the consumers who buy it are going to probably use it to blow air down more often than suck air up. So yeah, in reverse it's not as efficient, so you've often got to turn it up a couple of more notches to get the volume of air turning over. They did say in the specs that it does not work in cathedral ceilings, and I think what they meant by that is that it didn't work on the slopes of the cathedral ceiling. Here we've installed it at the peak. I've created a bracket at the very top. You probably can't see it in the video, but I've created a cross piece that then bolts onto a couple of battens that I've put in behind it, and then I've created a hollow section for which I can run a lead down and then connect all the power sections in behind all of that, and it's all nice and hidden away from the viewer. They only come in this colour, I believe, white. I think for a while there was a different colour, but that was okay for us because everything else in the ceiling is white, and you can see that happening in the video. So they're the pros. We've had some good success, and it's summertime at the moment, so we're using the fans in all three rooms: the bedroom, the living room, and the kitchen, which is at the far end. They're all in the same position at the peak. The con was that we had some difficulty with the controller units, not the remote control units that hang on the wall, but the receiving units that control the motor and the speeds in which it travels. Yes, this one worked for a year and we had to get it replaced. We bought two other units about 6 months after we installed this one to go into the rooms that we were going to renovate, or that we were in the process of renovating, and each time we finished a room, a fan went up. The fan that went into the living room failed twice. The one in the kitchen didn't fail at all, but we purchased 3 fans and we had 3 controller units go down. 2 in one and 1 in this one. Now I'm not sure, well it certainly wasn't anything that we did here. I mean, this one's working fine and the other 2 are working fine. Once we got the controller units replaced, we haven't done anything different there. And there's nothing in as far as the installation is concerned. They ran for a period of time, then they stopped. One ran for a day, this one ran for a summer. The second controller that failed ran for, I think it was for about a week, and then it died. So I think there was some problems with quality control from the manufacturer. I don't know if they've fixed that problem. I hope they have, because I believe the fan is a very good fan outside of that unit. But obviously, if you've got to get up a ladder, as you see I'm standing on a ladder holding on to one of the trusses here, if you've got to get up there and do some repairs every time you want to start up the motor or start up the fan when the summertime comes around, or if you want to do it in reverse for winter, it can be a right pain in the backside, because you've got to pull the propeller off, you've got to pull that cowling off, then you've got to turn the power off, and then you've got to undo all the gizmos in behind and disconnect it, and then run it off to the shop. Assuming that you've kept the warranty, that is the receipt, and Aerotron is happy to come to the party, then yeah, you can get a new controller, run yourself back up this ladder and go back up there and do it all in reverse, put the propeller back on, the cowling and the propeller back on. If you want to do all of that, then fair enough, but I wouldn't want to do it. I'd probably look at, if I knew that that was going to be an issue, I probably would have looked at a different fan. But there's no guarantee with another fan that you're going to do any better. But there is a happy ending. These 3 units have been running perfectly for the last 12 months. The kitchen never failed. We never had any problems with the kitchen. The living room got replaced twice. This one got replaced once. And Aerotron, people from Aerotron were very happy to replace them. I did make a comment to them and remark on the quality control. They didn't say anything, but I'm sure that if you have a failure rate which amounts to 100%, then I would think that there is something going on further upstream, and they're not letting in on about it. I worked for an electronics company for a period of time, and we accepted around 12%. They got it up as high as 18% for some products, and that's when the auditors started to come in and have a look at it to get it back down to 10 and 12%. So 100% is not a not a really good thing in today's modern world. They should be able to produce a far better controller unit than the one that's going in there. I would think that they've done that by now, because 100% would end up going back upstream. Wouldn't be just me and my 3 units. There'd be a lot of other units out in the marketplace, and they would have got that information and told the manufacturer to get their thumbs out and do better. Anyway, so that's my personal experience with the Aerotron Fan. I love the design, I love the efficiency and the quietness of them. I think they run at 8 watts of power when they're in this low mode, which is, you can run them all night and all day, and don't have to worry about power so much. Quiet, as I said. I didn't like having to replace the controller units.